And we're back.
We're
Part
back.
2B.
43B.
Alpha numeric?
Yeah, I guess so. Well, only for now. The people that will be listening to this as a podcast, this audio podcast, would have just heard the end of the last one and the beginning of this one.
Oh, right.
They're still listening.
It is the 43rd episode. We're just chopping it in little bits, and now we're talking about
FOF043b.com. We're new with this new format, anyway. So anyway, let's talk about Pirelli and testing.
Okay.
So basically, the wet test we talked about last week.
Yeah.
It's coming up on the 25th and 26th of January.
So soon.
At Paul Ricard, that'll be coming up soon. So I guess there's been some confirmation.
Very little coverage.
Yeah. Apparently, it's media free. Hopefully, some of these media guys will be hanging out outside the gate.
Yeah.
Get some pictures through the fence. Maybe talk to some people going in and out. Some details, maybe we'll find out. But in-season tire testing, Pirelli originally asked for, what was it, 16 days? Something crazy.
Yeah, a lot.
A lot of days.
Yeah.
There will be some days given.
Mm-hmm.
They are to be confirmed, though. So, we're not really sure any details about that. But Pirelli, on the other hand, we mentioned previously the first three races, since we started talking about the whole new tire system for this year, Pirelli had announced the tire selections for the first three races of the year, which is Australia, Bahrain, and China, which will be running the medium soft and super soft tires, right? So the whole idea, everyone knows about the new purple ultra soft tires, was to introduce some variety into the racing.
Those are probably not gonna come out like until Monaco.
Right. But we added an extra compound, add some variety to the racing.
Yeah.
Pirelli have announced the tire selections for Russia, the Russian race.
Up until Russia?
Yeah, the fourth race they released it. So I think I forget the number, but there's a minimum weeks before each race they have to announce the tires.
Yeah.
Russia has fallen into that. They will be, surprise, the medium, soft, and super soft tires. So at least for the first four races, we'll be racing on those three compounds: medium, soft, and super soft. But obviously, it's still completely up in the air.
So remember how before they used to call cause they only had two compounds per race.
They used to have two.
Yeah, they used to call the hardest compound prime, and then the softest compound they used to call it option. That's just like that was just like, I don't know. That's
just
F1 teams
the nomenclature.
Yeah.
That's.
Yeah, the commentators
the
would call it like that. Yeah, that was just like the language that they used. I wonder what they're going to do now with this third one in between.
Yeah.
The subprime.
There's got to be some new words.
Or super option.
I love super option.
Must be the super options.
Yeah, because certain cars, depending on your downforce levels, your chassis, whatever you select to bring to that race, you choose your tires, right? You could run less downforce on
and also,
a harder tire.
Interesting is you have to use at least two of the compounds, but not like you can use the three compounds during the race, but you can use you don't have to use them all. You can use just two.
You have to use one of the two selected by Pirelli.
Yeah.
Plus, if you're in the top 10, at least in Q3, the tire that you start the race on with the tire that you qualified in Q2 on, you set your fastest time. It's all up in the air.
Yeah.
The first four races, anyways, we're going to see the same three compounds.
Goddamn.
Preseason.
No creativity there, Pirelli. Come on.
No. Preseason testing is being locked at 8 days. So I guess we'll just recap. February 22nd, so about 5 weeks from now, we'll be seeing the first tests. 22nd to the 25th in Spain, Barcelona.
Yeah.
And again, March 1st, not too long after, I guess a week later, we'll be back at Spain for another 4 days.
Yeah. All in Barcelona. It used to be Jerez de la Frontera before, and then Barcelona. But that's right. Changed.
Even, was it 2 years ago, they did one of the tests in Bahrain.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah,
but then they decided for cost cutting, there's a lot of shipping to get everything to Bahrain and blah, etc.
That makes sense.
Now, Sauber is even saying that they're going to show up with...
Let's save that because I want to do today a little reveal segment.
Okay.
But let's finish this out with the the 2 in-season tests have been locked now.
Okay.
So the first one will take place in May after the Spain race. So the FIA regulations for this year state that there will be 2 in-season tests after 2 races, which must take place at a track where a race has just taken place within 72 hours of that race.
Holy shit.
So both of the in-season tests will take place on a Tuesday and Wednesday of the week. The first one being in Spain again. So the third test will be in Barcelona. May 17th and 18th, the Tuesday and Wednesday of that week. And again in July.
Right before Canada.
Right. And it's very close. And then again in July, will be on the 12th and 13th after the British race at Silverstone.
Okay.
With a distinct possibility that maybe for one of the first times ever, this test will be public in Britain.
Oh, shit.
Open to the public, which most of them, they're closed to the press even, right?
Yeah.
But there's a possibility of this July 12th and 13th, Tuesday, Wednesday test in Britain being open to the public. And there's a stipulation, we've mentioned this before, but 2 out of those 4 days of in-season testing must be by young drivers. So non-race or testing drivers.
Oh, shit.
So, yeah.
Do they...
2 out of those 4 days.
That's
Either 2 at one, 2 at... Each team has their own choice, whatever. They can do
Right.
2 at Silverstone and 2 at Spain and Barcelona, or 1 and 1, or whatever combination they choose,
cool.
either way. But 2 out of the 4 days must be driven by young drivers. And
That's good.
I believe
That is
the
good.
option to participate is open as well, but obviously each team wants as many hours running as they can, right?
Yeah, but for example, those that can afford. Manor missed a couple of tests this year or last year in 2015 because it didn't have money.
Another segment I'd like to touch on today, though, is the revampation, the revolution of Manor Marussia.
It's very interesting, but that's sticking to testing. And I think that I find funny is that some teams right now they're allowed, by their F1 contracts or whatever, they're allowed to have these filming days where they are allowed to take like a car or some car out and do like filming, but a lot of for promotional purposes, right?
Right. Yeah.
A lot of the teams actually tried to sneak in testing some parts.
Good for them.
Right.
Good for them.
One that was clearly was more just about the publicity and like the show was Max Verstappen's recent foray into the snow. We talked about this. We kind of touched it on it last week in last week's show because you saw the picture, but we never saw this show. We never saw like the actual. Let's just put it up now. Let's put it up now. It's in the book.
Okay, while we find that link, let's save that fun for 1 second because this is related. This is the last thing I wanted to talk about, and it's definitely not as fun as driving a fucking Formula 1 car on a fucking ski hill because those videos are badass.
Yeah.
But before you play that, 1 second. This week, yesterday, I believe. Yeah, this was yesterday. Yeah, just before you hit play on that.
It's not on.
Okay.
No, he was freaking out.
Sebastian Vettel was driving around a Ferrari, the F14T, the 2-year-old car at Fiorano, which is Ferrari's personal testing track. So I just want to clarify this. This sort of counts as a testing, but I pulled up the sporting regulations. Article 10.2 of the sporting regulations is testing of previous cars, which they abbreviate TPC. Basically, if you can, testing of previous cars encompasses for this year the testing of a 2012, 2013, or 2014 model car.
Yeah, you have to go far enough, but not too far.
Right. You can run your 2011 and 10s or the older cars as much or whenever you want. But this is not the full regulation, but Article 10.2 of the 2016 sporting regulation says, in order that the FIA observer may be appointed, so the FIA wants to see what the fuck you're doing. Because as Jay said, sometimes they run the old cars and
try to sneak in,
wedge in a new part there and test it out. Where possible, competitors must inform the FIA of any planned TPC, testing a previous car, test at least 72 hours before it's due to commence, and the following information shall be provided. And I know this from my trade. The word shall means you will do that.
Yeah. You're gonna
One
do that.
precise specification of the car or cars to be used. Precise. The name or names of the drivers, if known, which is a huge loophole, obviously, for any lawyers that are listening. The nature of the test. So why are you turning this car on? 4, the dates and intended duration of the test. So you can't just do whenever you want. Make sure that guy is there when you're testing. And 5, the purpose. What is the reason you're testing? So Ferrari might have specified that Vettel will be driving this specific 2014 car around our track on this day. But what the purpose was, who knows?
Yeah. You can
Maybe just they could call it exercise.
Yeah. But yeah. Yeah, he needs to.
We're gonna just make sure this engine doesn't get too rusty. You know.
Like,
Sebastian Vettel, he needs to practice. He's our big guy. All hopes in Sebastian Vettel is for him to not lose his driving skills.
I got an odd question.
Yeah,
of course.
In the off season, do racers get in, like hop in a Formula One car at all?
No, he can't.
He just did. Wait, 2014 car.
But even before, would they have ever done that?
Ferrari has a badass simulator.
Oh, okay. But no actual car.
The F1 car, the F1 cars of the current year or even the past year are under such strict control that you can't just like jump in and drive it now.
So it is right now. Today is January 19, 2016.
That's stupid.
The 2016 sporting regulations are in effect, and if you're driving a 2012, 13, or 14 Formula One car, it must be under these specifications. And one other rule, TPC may only be carried out with cars built to the specifications of the period, and only tires manufactured specifically for this purpose may be used. So they have to prove all that at the will of the FIA.
Shit.
Yeah.
Any cars under those 3 years must have permission to be sold or lent or used by anyone else, to anyone else, for any purpose. So those cars are under the control of the FIA. If you want to make a car, it's under their whim of rules for the next 4 or 5 years.
Yeah, but you
anything
still
before
can.
That, they can drive.
If there is a bit of aero rules that is similar enough from 2014 till 2016,
right.
And there are some things that you can develop around, like
especially 15 and 16 are very close.
Yeah. About even 14, with 14 was the beginning of the engine, right? Yeah. Of the new engine. So you can't have you won't do massive testing of super huge parts, but if you have a part that you would engineer the same way in 2014 and as 2016, you'll be able to test it. That's no problem. Test it all you want, which is kind of what they're gonna try to get away with doing.
Or if you can stick it on a 2011 car this year.
Right.
You can drive that as much as you want.
Right. Yeah. And with whomever you want.
Because the wind tunnel testing, as we know, is very specific. There's times, and the CFD is very restricted. The supercomputer.
Yes.
Fluid dynamic testing. Also very restricted.
That is definitely something that Ferrari's definitely they always do.
That whole thing has actually made me kind of upset about the sport. This no racing or driving in the off season.
Oh man, there is.
I understand. I mean, but that's pretty it's like if players couldn't train in the off season in hockey or any other sport. It's like, hey, by the way, during the off season, you're not allowed to skate or practice kind of at all.
Motorsport is
I know it's
weird
different.
like that.
I know it's different. No.
They're weird like that. But for sure, before, back in the day, what used to happen
all the fucking time, I imagine.
Yeah. Well, no, yeah. What used to happen is that F1 wasn't. I mean, F1 definitely was still the pinnacle of motorsports, but it wasn't the only thing that most, or at least the biggest F1 teams were involved in terms of racing. So Ferrari, for example, would be very involved in the Mille Miglia, a really, really tough Italian race, or the Targa Florio. They bring a few cars there with their racing. With it was the same sort of crew. It was the same Scuderia Ferrari that went out. It could have been they could have brought mechanics that were maybe more skillful with like the specific kind of car, but some people did go to both things, or and you know, and that's and those big other events happened during the off season, sort of, or whenever the F1 calendar wasn't going on. Since then, there has been a decline in popularity for many reasons of those like side races. They're not like they don't have the prestige. The only one that still kind of very very much still does is the Le Mans 24-hour race. Right. But Le Mans that's
I just watched a documentary on Netflix about it.
Nice.
Yeah.
Do you like it?
Yeah, it was cool. It was really interesting. It was kind of
it's a different kind of motorsport, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
It hit all the points that it needed to for a documentary, sort of. But it was interesting. Yeah, totally different thing. Animal beast,
the challenge
creature.
is completely different for sure.
Yeah.
Endurance racing is intense in its own right.
A lot more pee in your pants.
Yeah.
Just since you brought it up, and I wasn't going to touch on this, but if you continue to Article 10.3 of the 2016 sporting regulations, there's THC. I like the abbreviation. The FIA defines it as the testing of historic cars shall be defined as any track running time not part of an event, same wording as above, in which a competitor entered in the championship participates, or in which a third party participates on behalf of a competitor, using cars which are designed and built in order to comply with the 2011 Formula One tech regulations or earlier.
Okay.
So THC may only be carried out with cars built to the spec of the era, and provided it's only run on tires manufactured specifically for the purpose, tires of the period may be used. So basically any car 2011 or before, you can drive it all day, anywhere you want, any track, as long as you want.
But they do say like use the right type of tires.
Right.
So let's go back. Let's watch this thing, because we can put it on this.
Yeah.
This
let's close out with this is a testing of historic car day. Max Verstappen on Australia's Kitzbühel ski slopes.
Go up. I think it's like into the third minute. You actually see him like go out and tear it up. Yeah.
There's apparently some famous ski slopes up in the Alps.
Full screen, but look at how cool this is.
Yeah, Max Verstappen. They threw some full wet tires with chains on them.
Yeah.
And lifted this car on the ski
screen, right?
lift. They removed one of the chairs, attached some ropes.
Interesting,
lifted this car up on the ski lift.
Yeah, I know, man. This is insane. It's a RB11 though, right? Isn't it? Or I forget which one.
Yeah, I think so.
That.
Turn up the noise. We can hear this.
Can you?
I think we can hear this. Legally. Look at those chains on them tires.
Yeah. Just keep commentating on this.
Yeah, look. Anyone that's watching, you're gonna get to see it. Or you can look this up and watch the video.
We'll definitely put this in the links. But look at how fantastic this looks. Just an F1 car. We have been.
There's a few short clips where he's driving on a cliff.
Yeah. Oh, if he does, like, if he fucks up, he could fuck up like with large and end up all the way down. Look at that.
There's a little fence there, but that fence is meant to stop like 150-pound person.
Yeah.
150, 200-pound human being.
Yeah, no. This would have been amazing to go to.
I had the privilege of, over New Year's, going to Mont Tremblant in Montreal and skiing a real mountain, and there's a few spots where you're kind of close to some cliffs. But I wasn't going like 200 kilometers an hour in a Formula One car.
That's insane.
You control yourself with your 2 feet.
Really dangerous.
It is.
Yeah, when you're snowboarding near a cliff, it's kind of like walking. You just stay away from the edge and you pay attention to your surroundings. You're not going to get hurt. But
now,
damn, that was cool. There's a... it doesn't matter. There's an onboard video to anyone that wants to look it up. You can see an onboard.
Now,
that was better.
I don't know if you remember, but like we had touched on the idea of like, hey, like, what about a Grand Prix, a fall Grand Prix
in the
motherfucking snow? And he even said in Sweden. Turns out, okay, so remember how? Yeah, I know, right?
Yes, sick.
Yeah, turns out that okay, so
racing has been illegal in Sweden.
Right,
for about 55 years, as we discussed last week.
Before, like we talked about the origins of F1, how like F1 started as like the collection of the independent Grand Prix,
European big races.
Yeah, the big race
big prize of each country.
So for the year 1933, the big prize of Sweden fucking was a snow race with like what was what were Grand Prix
It was
cars.
a real Grand Prix?
It was the Grand Prix
snow?
of Sweden of 1933 was in the snow. Just go a bit into this.
This is amazing.
Yeah, this is we can show.
Bara en minut kvar.
That's like the old equivalent of
No, go back. Yeah. I mean, look at this. What? Look at it. Man.
Oh, sorry guys.
När klotet faller, då så.
Okay, see if you can. There's a start.
Look at that clock falling over.
Yeah.
That was the old.
Get out of the way.
Sponsor. Get the fuck out of the way.
Yeah.
That's what these look like covered
Herr
wagons.
Victor Widengren lever med sin Alfa Romeo.
They're like converted.
Alfa Romeo.
These are converted horse carriages. Okay, you can. Anyone curious? As every week, you can check flatofever.com or below this video
On YouTube
for the links. It's called Grand Prix Raymond Lopet 1933.
Yeah.
You'll find the video. It's in black and white. This is fucking bad. Look at that. They even had like basically a crane there with the camera. You see that?
Oh yeah,
This
man.
has been going since 33.
Yeah.
Now they have like
I
the
den
scissor
tvära
lift type thing.
landstegskurvan ovanför remen.
They're a little more liberal.
Herr Victor Widengren.
Look, they're taking the corner pretty fast, man. Even for
Yeah.
Lincoln Widengren.
like these cars are not going slow through the snow.
Yeah, no.
The two-man teams driving the car.
Yeah. That was acceptable back then.
Yeah, you got a
from what I can
navigator. You
understand.
got to adjust the steam and oil pressure, opening and closing valves, pulling levers, releasing steam.
I do this, you break.
Those some giant. Those
I'm
guys had,
gonna need you to lean.
big hats were in style in 1933.
Yeah, right.
Those are
But
white.
look, yo, break. Yeah.
Those are very white
I think
hats.
if you go like even for a bit
Are
further
those
ahead-
chain tires? These got
That's
some
what-
big
that's
studded rubber, man. Some studded rubber tires.
like just through some of this, they're genuinely going
1933
fast. Check that out. Yeah, 7 minutes.
Ta sig ur snövallen.
Anyway, it looks super cool and look, yeah, they did have chains. You're right.
Alla
Yeah, I think that other team. I don't think the other team did. I think he just had studded tires. He's got chains on his back on his drive wheels.
och befrias.
This is awesome, isn't it?
Wow.
Shouldn't they
I'm
just-
glad you found this.
Yeah.
I didn't even think to Google it because I didn't know. Look, he's heating up some soup
Oh,
or something.
this is for
He's
sure.
got he's heating up lunch.
Definitely.
Were they selling hot cider there?
Credit to this, actually, like credit to where credit is due. This
like a
was
hot
on
cider stand.
Joe Sayward's Twitter.
You listening, Joe? You listening, Joe? Did you hear us last week? You find this clip for us. That was badass.
It is cool, yeah. Check out the link. It's only 11 minutes, but like just to see that, and honestly, if it was doable back then, it would be doable today.
Oh,
definitely.
it is, but there's
Absolutely.
so
We
much
just
bullshit involved.
just saw Verstappen drive famous ski hill in the Alps. That's badass. An older car. Can be done.
Yeah.
Anyways, I think that's the cap for testing in Pirelli this week. Obviously, we'll come back with the updates next week. And we'll move on to the next topic.
Yeah.